Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today I want to talk to you specifically about the Dungeons & Dragons 5th Edition and the Garibay Blue Wolf Overlay. Now, the Garibay Blue Wolf Overlay is specifically a a cartographic overlay that you can use at anytime you introduce a new world. Okay, so if you're in an existing campaign and your player characters go to a new world, you can use this, or if you're at the beginning of a campaign, you can use this. So what this does is it sets up a new structure for human settlement. Okay, so basically, in any classic Dungeons and Dragons 5th Edition game, you're going to have, your core three. You're going to have humans, dwarves, elves, right? Dwarves live in mountains, elves live in the forest. Okay, at the macro level, the 51% level. Humans live everywhere, right? There's almost no limit to where, and generally they got to stay out of the mountains and they got to stay out of the forest because those areas are taken by the dwarves and the elves, right? So what this does is, and that's a very traditional Lord of the Rings structure, and I believe that Dungeons & Dragons 5th Edition still adheres to systematized Tolkien, Tolkien, okay? So basically, you have that structure in place. And with that structure, what you have is you have a kingdom, right? So that kingdom has a king and a queen. Maybe one of their or other are dead, but there's one of them ruling. And then you have cities, towns, and villages. Okay, and that's how humans live. Okay, so the Garibay Blue Wolf overlay replaces that. Okay, and it changes the way humans live in a fantasy world. So what it does is it says there are no longer towns, villages, and cities. Okay, it replaces those three with encampments, towers, castles. Okay, so encampments, towers, castles. You will never refer to a city, town, or village in your campaign again. There are only encampments, towers, and castles. So let's start with castles. Castles are held and they control a 25-mile radius. So you have a castle, that castle has a noble lord, okay, or a noble lady, lord or lady, right? And within that 25 miles, that castle has the same rights that a king or queen would have in a traditional realm. It's their land. People who live there serve them. They give fealty to them. All of that. Okay. Then you have a tower. Okay. Now, towers are only created by wizards, and those wizards are 8th level or above. It is a single wizard served, a single high wizard, okay, served by other wizards who live in the tower. The tower can be as few as 3 levels, or it could be as high as 30 levels. Okay, the tower is visibly noticeable from miles away. Okay, it's a classic wizard's tower. Okay, now these wizard's towers also control 25 miles around them, and in that space, no lord or lady has any control. Wizards simply are not subjects of the nobles. They're not. They're free, independent agents. Okay? Now, within that 25 miles, all of that land is controlled by wizards, right? And within this world, lords and ladies who live in castles don't mess with wizards. Who own towers, right? They respect each other's area. Sometimes that breaks down, and there's literally war, right? And that can happen, totally, right? And when that's done, the castle will be razed to the ground, or the tower will be razed to the ground, right? And a new castle or tower will be put up in place of the other, right? That's how, it's just the structure of the world, okay? Last is encampments, okay? So what happens in encampments? Encampments are, an encampment is created by a group of humans, okay? And basically, it's literally just a camp. It's a bunch of tents, right, that are put up. There's really no buildings. It's just a collection of tents, okay? And they control 25 miles around them, but they control it incredibly loosely, right? And an encampment can be scattered easily by any wizard or any castle, okay? But they do control 25 miles around them, and basically, they're known to have some level of power, a very low level of power, but some level of acknowledged power within that 25 miles, right? So the reason you would put this into your game and drop this structure into place is because it gives you a new, fresh way to deal with all the major elements that Lord of the Rings established: humans, dwarves, elves, right? But it gives you a completely new way to deal with. It gives you a completely new way to deal with those elements, right? And really opens the game to new actions. Now, in each one of those places, castles, encampments, towers, it changes what your player characters can do. It changes the monsters they'll encounter. It changes their survivability. It changes their standing. Okay? It changes their standing. And basically, yeah, so monsters, survivability, and standing. It changes all of those aspects for your player characters. And I'll do another video that explains how each one of those of how a tower, a castle, and an encampment changes what your player characters can and cannot do within that 25-mile sphere around that encampment, tower, or castle. I'll let you know more. I'll give you the extra parts coming up. Thanks for your patience. Just wanted to present the Garibay Blue Wolf overlay to you to be used in your next Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition campaign. Let me know your thoughts on what I presented here. Please consider liking and subscribing, and have a wonderful millennium.